I've never understood why women think men should pay for them on the first date. Why should a man who is a stranger to you buy you anything? And how is expecting him to not entitled as hell? Now, when you ask a large number of women who should pay on the first date, you get weird answers like this.
First date, who should pay?
I'm not paying.
I think the boy should pay on the first date.
Definitely be the man, because I think I'm spending a lot of time. I know I'm gonna spend half the day picking out my dress and getting my nails done. Do you know how much nails are?
Who should pay on a date? The guy.
Men should pay for the first date.
Who should pay on the first date?
Guy.
The guy.
The guy.
Should the guy pay on the first date?
Yes, they should be because it's traditional.
Who should pay on the first date?
The man, obviously.
And that is Europe, Croatia. Men pay for the first, second, third, or whatever, like all the dates.
Now, one of the common reasons given for expecting a man to pay is tradition or chivalry. However, the culture of paying on dates is a relatively new concept. Hundreds of years ago, when people lived in small farming communities, it was not commonplace for regular men to buy things for the women that they were courting. People courted merely by spending time together, dancing, and socializing. And through that, people decided if they liked each other, and then they got married. And only once a man was married to a woman did he invest in her financially in any way. Even in the early 20th century, people lived in relatively small communities where everybody knew everybody. So there was no internet, but people dated from the pool of people that they knew their entire lives. So there was essentially background information on every man or woman. And you had character references. But we don't have that anymore in the 21st century in the age of dating apps on social media. These days, men and women are forced to date complete strangers, completely unconnected to them in any way. We are forced to date people who we know nothing about. But women expect men to just trust that they're a good person with good intentions and to spend their hard-earned money on women. How does that even make sense? The second most commonly given reason for expecting a man to pay is the amount of money a woman must spend on her hair, nails, makeup, clothes, and shoes. Except that you already get your nails done regularly and you already owned all the makeup, the clothes, and the shoes. You purchased those things long before you ever met that man. And you wear all of them regularly. Why should another person have to pay for things that you already own, that you chose to buy? Your friends and family are not obligated to pay for any of these things. However, for some weird reason, a man merely being interested in you means that he is suddenly on the hook for paying for those things. The third most common reason women give for expecting a man to pay is because men expect sex. How does expectation equal obligation? I know we live in the 21st century where hookup culture is everywhere. However, women still have free will and choice. A man being sexually attracted to you and merely possessing the desire to sleep with you at some point does not mean that you have to sleep with him. And y'all are aware of this, correct? Him being attracted to you does not mean that he has to give his resources to you. That doesn't make any sense. Now, most people have a strong desire to possess $1 million. And yet the billionaires of the world feel zero obligation to give people that money. But women these days expect a man to wine and dine them just for being a woman. How come women won't admit that that doesn't make any sense? 50% of the world is female, ma'am. So it's not unique to be a woman, nor is it special to be a woman. First dates are all about getting to know the other person and deciding whether or not you like them, and then deciding whether or not you're compatible and deciding whether or not you want to continue. It's essentially an interview, right? Why would you want to sit across the table from a complete stranger and spend an hour to an hour and a half eating a meal with them? Just thinking about that makes me uncomfortable. What if I don't like you? Now I'm stuck here like an idiot, waiting for the appetizer and the entree to come out, and I have to sit here and eat my food that you paying for and pretend to make conversation with you when I know that I don't like you, and only then can I go home. Is the price of a free meal worth suffering through conversation with a man you don't like? Is the price of an experience worth suffering through a conversation with a man you don't like? Surely women are not that shameless, and surely women are not that broke. If you go on a first date with a man and he pays the bill, but you realize that you don't like him and no longer wish to see him, doesn't it bother you that you just let this man spend his money on you? You allowed another person to spend 30, 40, 50 plus dollars on you, and then you just walk away like it's nothing. That would really bother me personally. I would feel bad about it, which is why I don't let any man spend money on me until I have agreed to be in a relationship with them. And no, for the people who like to misunderstand, I am not suggesting that women sleep with men who they are not invested in. While I would not allow a man to spend money on me if I wasn't in a relationship with him, I also wouldn't sleep with a man if I was not in a relationship with him. So please do not willfully misunderstand my words. The average man and woman does not earn a lot of money. Most are middle class if they are lucky, especially these days where everything like rent, gas, living expenses, etc. are high as hell. But I see so many women walking around with this bizarre and entitled attitude to just have unvetted access to a man's money, even though that man knows nothing about you. You expect to be treated like a princess when you have done nothing to earn that treatment. It is so shocking that people these days, men and women, expect all of this special treatment for doing nothing, for existing. Tell me you have no integrity without telling me you have no integrity. I remember a few years ago, it was common for women to go out on foodie dates where they would match with a man on an app and they would suggest he take them to a really upscale, expensive restaurant. And then they would let the man pay for the bill. Then those women would never see those men again. And these bills were high as hell too. $200, $300, $400, $500 bills. These women had zero intention of ever being in a relationship with these men. They just wanted to use them for a free meal. How messed up is that? Knowing that bad women like that exist, doesn't it make you more empathetic to the idea that men essentially are forced to just trust that a woman is not using them? Men are expected to just take a chance and potentially waste hundreds of dollars, sometimes thousands of dollars a year to do it. And a lot of women have zero empathy about that, and I find that very strange. If you put yourself in a man's shoes, would you be comfortable with taking the risk with your money, hard-earned money, by paying for people who you don't know and who might just be using you? I'll wait. Now, of course, the average woman's answer to that question is hell no. So then why do we expect men to do it? Because there exists no long tradition of it even being a thing. And how is the expectation not an indication of low character on women's part? If you ask me, expecting a man that you don't know to buy you things is opportunistic and entitled. Now, I'm not saying that you can't have that standard. You can have whatever standard you want. You are free to make whatever standard you want. However, can we all just agree that you are simply taking advantage of men?